ever walked into a room and immediately felt out of place? Well, that's exactly how I felt as I walked into my first hour class with 95% seniors as a freshman. Before I could even think about transferring classes, I was handed my first assignment. Make a bucket list, and then pick your top goal. So I started writing down the typical bucket list ambitions like travel the world, get married, survive this class. But then I really started to think about it. What do I want to do before I die? And after some thought, I picked my top goal. Impact someone's life. I wasn't sure how I was going to do it or where to begin, and in the middle of all these thoughts, the bell rang. So I proceeded on to my next class, where I noticed a girl who I didn't recognize. Her head was down, and her arms were crossed defensively across her body. But what I didn't know at that moment is that in a year's time, I would have the answer to my question: how can I impact somebody's life? When I think of FBLA, I think of an organization that creates leadership to help its members accomplish their goals. And what are the traits of a good leader? Confidence, persistence, the list goes on and on. But what about the traits that many people overlook? One of FBLA's 9 goals to develop character. The dictionary defines character as a collection of complex mental ethical traits. FBLA helps develop character in many ways, such as 1, encouraging compassion, 2, encouraging consideration, and 3, encouraging loyalty. Having obtained these traits through FBLA for the past 2 years, I was prepared to put them into action at any time. Being compassionate is a very important trait FBLA encourages. Many of the great things we have in the world today came from compassionate people who realized a problem and stood above the rest to attempt to fix it. When I saw this new girl sitting in the corner of the classroom looking on guard, I immediately had a feeling of compassion for her. This feeling of empathy reminded me that FBLA taught me that I'm a leader, not a follower, so I walked up and introduced myself. A few moments later, we were asked into lab groups, so without hesitation, I welcomed her into mine and invited her over to work on a project. This project happened to not only score me an A, but also put me on the path to accomplishing my original goal: impact someone's life. FBLA encourages its members to be considerate, but FBLA encourages its members to be compassionate, but FBLA also encourages them to be considerate. Think about the president, for example. If he is not considerate towards the people's needs, then he would not be a successful leader. Consideration was a key factor in helping me accomplish my goal, because let me just say, if there was a world record for worst first impressions, meeting this girl had to take the gold. But while we were working on that project, I happened to learn a lot about this girl. Just imagine living a life where you weren't sure where you'd be sleeping the next night. A life filled with drugs, violence, and crime. A life where you have been abused in every way possible. This was just the beginning of her life story. Therefore, she did not have the opportunity to be raised the way the majority of everyone else had. But what everyone else was lacking was the ability to be considerate, to look beyond her actions and see all the amazing things in her. Although consideration and compassion are important traits FBLA encourages, one of the most important traits it encourages is loyalty. The ability to stay dedicated to someone or something through thick and thin. Through my year of knowing this girl, I showed my loyalty to her as much as I could. And the day she was sent off to her next journey in life was the day she answered my question: how can I impact somebody's life? The day she left me a note. On this note, plain and simple, it stated, "Thank you for not turning your back on me when the whole world did. You told me I was worth something when others told me I was a mistake. All in all, I can only hope I impact somebody's life like you have impacted mine." In conclusion, FBLA develops good character, which does in fact create effective leadership by encouraging its members to 1, be compassionate, 2, be considerate, and 3, stay loyal. By doing this, its members can make a difference in the world, or just to one person. Now, I would just like to finish off this speech with a quote by Helen Keller, whose phenomenal character was an inspiration to all. Character cannot be developed through ease and quiet. Only through trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, ambition inspired, and success achieved. Thank you.